We are back, baby. We're back. Eastern Conference Finals, downtown Charlie Brown Fantasy Sports League Radio live on location. This is so exciting. Back for the second installment of this program. And Colin, we're back. We're better than ever, and it's lottery season.
Yeah, like I was telling you before we hopped on, I can't wait to inevitably get my heart ripped out. But boys, speaking to the other 10 in the league, I had forgotten that the Knicks were playing tonight, and this is what popped on the screen when I got on. So I'm I took it in as you are all now. Everything that is Nate. He's maybe the highest we've ever seen him. He is your champion. He is newly employed. He has some fun new coworkers, and he's got a cool hat.
That's right. That's right. Let's kick it off right away, though.
Mm-hmm. He didn't tell me he was doing this either, for what it's worth. Oh, wow.
Wow. Had to do that. It's New York Knicks time. We're back at the Garden. Woo! Woo! Where's Cleveland at? Where's Cleveland at?
We're out of the playoffs. We lost last round of the team you're playing.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got that out of the way. Let's get to the agenda. I know we built out quite a few topics before we actually get to the lottery. Where do you want to take this?
Yeah, dude, I do want to get to the Knicks because although you had whatever that was, but you do deserve your flowers and you deserve to talk about the Knicks a little bit. So we'll get to that. But I do have a couple things before we really get into the meat of this episode. If Nate, you'll indulge me.
Sure.
So, dude, this was last week. I probably had the worst foot and mouth that I've ever had, and it was a good reminder about making silly jokes and making silly jokes in the workplace specifically. So I was making small talk. I go to the office 3 days a week. I was making small talk with one of my coworkers in the kitchen and asked him what he was up to this weekend. He's a UFC guy, so I asked him if he was watching the fights. And he said, no, I'll probably just be taking it easy because I'm getting surgery. So, Nate, can you guess what I said next? You can say pass.
Yeah, I'll pass on that.
So I said, are you finally getting that dick lengthening surgery? And then he said,
well played, Flag, well played.
And he said, no, actually, my wife and I have been trying to have kids for the past year, and we can't, and they think that it's my fault. So the last resort is them trying to extract semen from my balls to see if we can have kids or if I'm totally barren.
Wow. You're the asshole.
Uh-huh. And luckily, he's the nicest guy ever. And he's like, no, it's funny. I'm like, I'm very sorry. That was inappropriate. But no, he took it on the chin. But yeah, catastrophic foot in my mouth in that scenario there.
It was a good risk. It was a good risk that you took there, though. I would have probably gambled. I probably would have rolled the dice similar to you.
Dude, it wasn't that funny. It wasn't that funny, though.
Well, sometimes it don't land.
I mean, it landed. It's just it wasn't so funny that it was worth the risk of getting him to talk about the fact that he's barren.
Sure. That's tough. Well, it's kind of in line with some of your most recent sauna experiences too, it seems.
Yeah, and I'll be sparing the listeners with no sauna talk today, but I have an even more exciting topic, and I've talked about it before. I don't know if I've talked about it with this group specifically, but I'm talking about my neighbors and their lawn and my lawn. So, Nate, over here on the East Coast, it's been raining quite a bit lately.
Yeah.
And I'll admit it's been a little tricky navigating getting your mows in around all the rain that we've had. So I'll use that as a little precursor. But my neighbors, they haven't mowed their lawn in about 6 weeks. And it was getting bad. Maybe, knee high. I'm not exaggerating when I say knee high. And dude, I don't know why. I can't help it. It irks me. It pisses me off. I don't like it. It looks like crap. And then, finally, I hear the mower going. I'm like, oh, all right, they're mowing the lawn. Fine, better late than never. Also, like one last piece of context. My neighbor, she's about my age, so like younger 30s. She owns the home. Her boyfriend, who does not have a job, has lived with her for the past 8 months, and presumably, from what I can gather, just smokes weed on her back porch all day because all I hear is coughing and skunk smell coming from from her back patio. And I'm no narc, you know.
No.
I like to have fun as much as the next guy, Nate. But I mean, when it comes to, you know, if you're letting your lawn care slip, that's a whole nother thing. So anyway, she posts on the neighborhood Facebook page, my boyfriend's looking for some extra work. If anyone has any landscaping work. I'm like, if anyone has any landscaping work, I mean,
it's you guys.
Of course I would never, dude. I had a right mind to take a picture of her lawn and saying like, yeah, here's his handiwork. But anyway, sorry, I'm passionate about this. But so fast forward to Monday night. I hear the lawnmower going. I'm like, all right, they're finally mowing the lawn. And then 2 hours later, and mind you, I have the exact same dimensions of my lawn. It takes 25 minutes tops to mow. And I see that they've only cut a path from the back patio and like a 15 by 15 space in the center of the yard, presumably so they could cut just enough space for the dog to go out and use the bathroom. And then, dude, so Tuesday, I'm like, whatever, funny, but whatever. Tuesday, I come home from work. They cut the front lawn. I was like, all right, whatever. They cut the whole lawn. And then I'm in the backyard. They did not cut the whole lawn. They still didn't finish cutting the back. And fast forward to today, they just finished cutting the back today. So, dude, there is some next level mind games going on back there. This is maybe the largest case of weaponized laziness that I've ever seen from the unemployed stoner boyfriends. But that's what I got going on over here in the.
And you're not close to the guy. You never talked with him before.
Well, dude, I talked with her in the summer, but he's a little shy and awkward, which is fine. But he's like plenty nice. But yeah, that's
Now, do you ride a mower or do you push a mower?
Dude, like I said, it takes like 25 minutes to do my lawn, and that's pushing. I'm not in the tax bracket where I have a riding mower just yet.
One day.
I mean, that's a dream, dude. Honestly,
I look forward to the day where you get to ride out of the garage on the riding mower. Got a nice ice cold white T-shirt you're able to wrap around the neck in the summertime. Make sure you stay cool up there. Suntan lotion applied. That's the life right there. Dude,
you really paint a picture. I mean, my ideal lawn mowing, and I only do this when the wife isn't home because it upsets her. But I do, dude. And I admit this is white trash, but homemade cut off jean shorts that were once jeans and no shirt. That's how you mow the lawn with like workout shoes that I've had since I was 19 that are now stained green. That's how you mow the lawn.
That's it right there. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, well, that was all the self-serving lawn mowing talk that I had. Choose your own adventure for you here, Nate. Would you like to potentially be attacked, or would you like me to build you up? I'm going to do both, but I will let you choose which happens first.
How about you attack me first, and then we'll build myself up from that point on.
Okay. Potentially attacked because I'm giving you an out. Would you like to walk back your take that Scottie Scheffler maybe isn't as good as Tiger Woods, or are you still holding on to that?
See, the way you word it, it's all about the wording here and how you and our other nut job friend in the Golf Boys group chat word this kind of theory here.
Mm-hmm.
Is Scottie Scheffler as good as Tiger Woods was in his prime? Is that the question?
Yeah.
No. Is Tiger Woods doing? I don't know. It's not the Tiger Woods. Is Scottie Scheffler doing Tiger Woods like things? Yes. That's where I stand.
All right. So are we getting closer? Are we getting closer to meeting?
I can't. How can you say closer? I mean, like the guy. I mean, you could certainly say that the run that he is on is Tiger-esque, and I'm definitely in on that. I'm definitely in on the trajectory being there. But if we look at if we truly are doing numbers to numbers, if we're truly looking at wins across tour, across majors, across number one weeks as number one, he still has a way to go before we're like, all right, it's a true comparison. It is quite literally Scotty and Tiger fighting for the legacy. And that I don't think we're like as far as I may once believed when he first started his run, but I think that we are now at a time where we can honestly share this is Tiger-esque material for sure.
I mean, would you say, well, let me ask you this. Would you say undoubtedly he is the second best player other than Tiger since Tiger? Undisputed number two.
Since Tiger, sure. You're saying of all time?
No, not all time. Since Tiger, there's been no one better than Scotty, other than Tiger.
Yes, I guess I'm comfortable saying that now. Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, that's all I needed to hear. I will call off the dogs. Stand down, boys. If you're listening,
is that fair? Is that fair of me to say that? Like,
very fair.
There's two questions at hand here, and you can't. While it certainly feels very, very special what we're seeing right now out of this 28-year-old golfer, I look back at the numbers that Tiger put up and the streaks and the wins that he got in the fashion that he got them, and I need a few more. Like it's funny. It sounds funny coming out of our mouths, but you do need to see a couple more things. And I do say that a PGA Championship victory, a major other than the Masters, was a very big step. It was a very big step towards that conversation because, hey, Bubba Watson has 2 Masters. Like that golf course, people that play well in that golf course know how to get around. That's all.
Yeah. No, very, very true. And I wish I would have just asked it the second way the first time, because that's what I'm really getting at is the second way that I asked that question. And not to fully jump back into it, but totally fair. Your original argument and again, we don't have to do it again, but you comparing him to Spieth's run, Brooks's run.
Yeah.
But
there's comparisons out there. You could even put Rory in that category, and Rory obviously just made like the biggest milestone that any golfer is looking to achieve. And I think that if it wasn't for the length of the drought that Rory had in terms of major victories, I think that there's a very different conversation that we're having right now. And I think what's most impressive to me about Scotty, and we can end it here so that our many listeners won't get too bored about our golf talk, is that countless of times these really great golf runs have been stopped because of off the course distractions and just life happening, right? Like Jordan Spieth's a perfect example where he started to have a family. He started to have other things going on outside his life. Rory the same way. And while you might think, oh, that happens in every sport, why does it matter in golf as much as it does? Well, you only swing a golf club for 5 minutes of the 4 hours that you're actually on the golf course. It is mental. There's a lot of things that you need to work for you to be kind of on your game for the entire round, not to mention 4 rounds in a tournament. So that's been what's most impressive to me about Scotty is that he has gotten married, he has had a kid, and he has had a lot of distractions off the course, and yet he still is competing at such a high level. He seems like a very mellow individual, but also super focused, which is super impressive because the alternative is a Dustin Johnson that is super low key and mellow, and he's able to brush off a really tragic loss like Chambers Bay, U.S. Open, or even the U.S. Open at was it Pebble or Torrey where he was a leader going into the final round and he had a triple to start the round or something like that. He's able to brush it off very easily, but he doesn't have enough focus to kind of like he's not there all the time. Like, and whether that might be the cocaina or whatever he's doing.
Well, you brought it up because you said Dustin Johnson mellow. I was like, well, yeah. Also, dude, I always think about that, and the funniest thing about that story is like cocaine stays in your system for like 36 hours. So to like, I'm exaggerating a little, but to fail a drug test for cocaine, you almost have to be like doing cocaine on your way to the drug test.
Sure. That's crazy. That's insane.
I know. So, dude, maybe it's sure you can be a victim of bad timing, but being a little judgy whenever you get popped for coke, I'm like, what a piece of shit.
That's right. All right, so you wanted to go into to bring me up now that you had you really tear me down.
Yeah. Well, I didn't tear you down. I held your feet to the flames. And I think it ended up being a healthy discussion. But I will now, I'll suck you off a little bit. Nate got a new job, and I think it's very cool. So hats off.
Thank you
to Nate. It's a very cool job. If you'd like to talk about it, you don't want to talk about it, go ahead.
We don't need to talk about it, just in case of. I think that we're going to keep this radio show to our listenership, but no, super excited about the gig, super excited to be working in sports. I'll say that in that regard, and definitely pumped to get going here. And we'll share a little bit more about where we're going to be relocating. So we'll get to that later on in the show, but appreciate the call out there.
Yeah. Well, I will say, Nate is getting some interesting coworkers, some of which we may have already named earlier on the show.
It's true. That's true. It's fact.
But yeah, very, very cool. You said in your own words, dream job, not to be cheesy, but it is exciting. So pat the boy on the back. I mean, I was saying before we hopped on here, everything's coming up Nate. So it seems like almost certainly something horrific is going to happen to him soon. So Nate, soak in the good times.
Thank you.
Cool new job. Your fantasy football champion. His Knicks are in the Eastern Conference Finals. Cool hat, which we didn't know until tonight. Very cool hat. Dude, these Knicks, I think the biggest loser is the fans. I mean, we had 2 years in a row of some great mayor's bets between you and myself. And I know that Berg even jumped in last year, and we had a lot of fun with it. And I'll admit, hand up, I fully looked past the Pacers. I was thinking about mayor's bets before game one with the Pacers even happened. So, I mean, I think the real loser here is the fans that could have seen those mayor's bets. I had a couple ideas for next year. We could do mayor's bets
or baseball. Baseball's coming right around the corner.
Or baseball. I just had
baseball. It's funny because baseball, it digs a little bit at you guys. And so I know there's a long history there. And I certainly have been on the upper hand, fortunately, the past few years. But that one, and I would say this across the board, I completely agree with you. That was definitely the loss because I get this fire in my belly when I see that there's a potential playoff matchup between the Cleveland team, because I know the boys are going to be all up in my shit, and there is no letdown. And whether it's 0-0 in the series or 3-0 to one team, or it's going into a game 7, the intensity is on. Like everybody is so delicate at this time and can blow a gasket at any time. And it is definitely a great emotion, and coming out on top is incredible. It is an incredible feeling because you just forget about the mayor's bets. The bragging rights is unlike any other because you have to wait a whole nother year to even try.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, dude, I think you nailed it when you said the baseball one stings more, and it's absolutely right. I mean, the Indians/Guardians have been losing to the Yankees since I was born, since way before I was born. And, big market versus small market. When the Yankees are in the playoffs, I hate the Yankees and I want them to lose. It'd be kind of cool if the Knicks won. I'm not rooting against that. And maybe there's some disagreements in the rest of the league, but, that's how I see it.
I think that's a pretty common theme that I'm hearing around, especially the podcast I listen to. Like, even Bill Simmons was talking about how he's like, the fans deserve this. He's like, they've been through so much over the last 25 years, and it's one of those franchises that just hasn't figured it out. And the fact that we've finally hit on a couple players that are great people to be at the center of the organization and then kind of like the foundation of the team. It's pretty fun. And I've had my being the longtime Knicks fan that I am, I've remained cynical because how can you not? How can you not be cynical with a team that constantly kind of like falls flat on their face year after year, even in the playoffs? And not to mention, I think like the biggest kind of like cynicism that anybody has talked to me about the Knicks is I will never get behind a 6-man rotation in the NBA playoffs where you're going 110% each night, potentially for 7 games. And there is at any point an opportunity for somebody to get injured or lose all stamina. And that's what Thibodeau does. Thibodeau runs his teams to the absolute ground from the start of the season to the end. And then if you're not in tip-top shape kind of going to the playoffs, it's kind of downhill from there. So it's tough to watch. It's not my favorite style of basketball. I think that Jalen Brunson in general has kind of turned things around for me because he's so exciting to watch. He plays with his absolute heart on his sleeve. It's been fun.
Yeah, man, they're a fun team, dude. It's kind of funny because I haven't heard anyone talk about it because obviously with all the Luka stuff and the Luka trade, like with his Knicks team, it's like, dude, people forget Brunson was on the Mavericks too. Like, it's crazy.
Dude, Nico Harrison.
It's crazy.
How does Nico Harrison have a job? Like
it's crazy.
That is the number one question right now across the NBA. And there were even, it's not going to happen, but there were even rumors about him potentially trading the first pick. Just throwing it away, going to get Giannis or Durant or one of these aging stars. And it's like, dude, this is not like people try to overthink this stuff. Don't. You could have had Luka, Jalen Brunson. No, it wouldn't have shaked out that way. Like obviously, if you had Luka and Jalen Brunson, you're probably not getting that first pick. But you know where I'm going with that. It's like you get impatient, you try to meet a certain window, and then you lose out on something that is super special. So,
well, dude, the hardest thing to do in all of sports is to draft talent.
That's true.
Not with the first overall pick. And you did it twice, and you just pissed it away.
Yeah, I don't get it.
But that's just a side tangent.
My cousin, one of my cousins, who is they live in Dallas, and they are season ticket holders. They've been season ticket holders for the last 20, 30 years. Sold their tickets.
Man.
Sold their tickets after the Luka trade.
Good.
I don't blame them. I would do the same shit.
Well, there's a lot of fans in Cleveland for the Browns doing the same, just from friends of friends and people that I know, because also it doesn't get talked about enough, but the Cleveland Browns, after not last season, but the season prior, with the first, the second magical year of Deshaun Watson, they raised season ticket prices 30%.
Wow. That is unreal.
Yeah, just great job that old that Nepo hillbilly's doing up there in Cleveland. Super excited to see what's up for the new stadium that he puts outside of downtown. So anyway, sorry, we're talking about the Knicks. How do you feel about their chances? Like I said, I really don't have a horse in the race. There's no one I'm like super pulling for, but it'd be cool to see the Knicks win. I guess I'd be the Knicks if anyone, not even being lame because you're here.
Knicks in 7. Those are my feelings. I think that we're gonna run them. We're gonna out hustle them. We're gonna run them to the ground, and it's gonna really just come down to runs. Who's gonna kind of carry the momentum? And I think that we're gonna experience it tonight. That the Garden is gonna be absolutely electric, and that's gonna carry the Knicks to victory. Now, I will say though, playing at Indiana is no easy feat. You guys experienced that in this most recent round. It's a very small kind of arena, so it gets loud very quick. And I think that there's a lot of history, right, between the Knicks and the Pacers that are going to come out. I think Reggie Miller's already walking around New York City disguised, and he's calling himself the boogeyman. I mean, it's all coming to the forefront, and I think that it's going to be really fun. It's going to add to all the drama. I guarantee you we're going to see a lot of different packages that ESPN throws at us about the long storied rivalry between the Pacers and the Knicks. And it's gonna be great entertainment. I think that's what's gonna come down to. It's gonna be. I think that's what we got to enjoy is that these are gonna be close games. these are going to be some pretty special moments. I could see Halliburton too, kind of really coming out of his own, similar to, well, I hate to bring up bad stories, but like his play, it was a game 2 when he got the rebound and brought it back to 3-point and made it. Like that one hurt.
Mm-hmm. When he did the big balls celebration after the shot, that was pretty sick though. Dude, two things. Epic. Yeah, that was epic. But 2 things. I love that you planted the seeds of a small arena being a hindrance to the Knicks. And I love the idea of you guys, if you guys lose, saying like small arena hurt us. But anyway, right. as a bandwagon Cavs fan, hand up, watching those playoff games, dude, Indiana, they have a good team. They're coached well. They have a good game plan. Halliburton's a fucking dog. But dude, and this is sour grapes for sure. But they played above their skis in that series, man. I mean, dude, there was times where it was shades of that finals against the Cavs and Warriors when the Warriors had Durant, where they would play perfect defense. There'd be a hand down his throat, and then Durant would just fade away and make every shot. Like, what the fuck are you supposed to do? Like, some of the shot making the Pacers made, and the Cavs completely fell apart. Not to take anything away from the Pacers, but more so, and I think you could argue that series was kind of won in game 2. But I agree. Those first 2 games, the shot making by the Pacers was just fucking ridiculous. Like, fadeaway 3 is just like what could be. It's just like Jesus Christ. So point being, maybe I'm wrong and they just come out and it's a tough series, or they even beat the Knicks. But I just every game I was waiting for the wheels to fall off, and they never did. And I kind of think they played above their skis last series, personally.
Yeah, and I think to cap it all off in terms of, okay, what's next for Cleveland? Because it is a quite interesting conversation, because you guys made some pretty special moves to get this team to a position where, top to bottom it's a very strong roster. Now, I think the biggest pieces that were missing in this series were Darius Garland, and people might argue, how much of an impact was Darius Garland going to make in that series? I would argue that it was going to be a pretty significant impact, because he takes pressure off Mitchell in terms of ball handling. He's able to kind of take on some other defensive responsibilities, and then also you were missing Evan Mobley in game 2. So how much are you like kind of grading this roster and like, okay, this wasn't it, we got to go back to the drawing board? Maybe let's trade Mobley while his stock is high and get someone like Giannis or somebody else that's on the trade block? Or are you kind of being like, you know what? Nope, we just had a couple miscues in terms of injuries, and we're going to run this back, and we're going to kind of see what we can do with this team. It's a tough question.
Yeah. Well, again, bandwagon Cavs fan here that showed up for the playoffs, and I got a little bit of a old white man take. I think, and my biggest takeaway from that series, everyone besides Mitchell and Evan Mobley played with zero balls, like fucking nutless. Like, I know the biggest offender was Jared Allen. He just played like a
you got to play big.
Nutless, just getting run out of the fucking gym by players who presumably aren't as good as him. And Darius Garland was hurt, so maybe you can give him a pass, but just like down the stretch in the last game, like no one would take a shot. Everyone was afraid to take a shot. Allen was playing soft, and then Strus just decides to have the worst game of his entire career. And I was like, dude, this is just a nutless performance. And it's tough because Mobley's obviously the biggest trade chip with his age and like his upside, but I don't know. It would suck to see him go. I mean,
it's a tough asset to let walk. You guys hit on him in the draft.
Yeah,
he's not even reached his ceiling yet. He's so young. I would have a tough time as well. And you also don't know what's going to happen with an aging star. Like Giannis is the name being thrown around.
That'd be pretty cool though. That'd be pretty.
Garland, Mitchell, Giannis. I mean, it's a tough decision. It's a tough decision.
I know.
Because you got to give something up for that, right? But anyways.
Knicks in 7. Just to put a button on it, Nate, I did have a couple ideas for Mayor's bets, maybe for next year. Knicks win. Kyle has to do your taxes, which is tricky. Because as we know now, that's 2 W-2s now. We're looking at 2 W-2s separate.
Yeah.
Cavs win. You have to say Jordan Queef on a work call and not address it. If you will not accept those terms, I have a counter.
Okay.
The counter, should you not accept these terms, don't have to decide anything tonight. Kyle still does your taxes, but he does them poorly.
Wow.
And then,
but I would do. But so you're saying that if the Knicks win, Kyle does my taxes well, but if the Cavs lose, he does my taxes poorly.
No, there's two separate offers. So Kyle does your taxes well, but you have to, but you're risking if the Cavs win, you have to say Jordan Queef on a work call and not accept it. But the counter, you're like, that's too much. The counter is Kyle does your taxes, but poorly. He still does them. He completes them, but he does a bad job. But you still don't have to do your taxes, so that's nice. Or the alternative to that one is you just have to work in blue a 3-1 lead into a work call with one of your new coworkers and not address it. So we don't have to figure it out tonight. We've got plenty of time.
We got time.
Those are the ideas that I came up with. You know,
Did the Giants play the Browns this year?
I kind of don't think so. I don't think so.
I'm bringing it up real quick because that could be our next mayor's bet. We could really kind of noodle some ideas here.
That'd be a lot of fun. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I didn't see that the other day. Because once in a while we do have a regular season game against you guys. No, we do.
Do we? Yeah, we don't. We played your division recently, but yeah, we're open to ideas too if anyone has anything. But those again, just top of my head. And I like the idea of Kyle doing your taxes.
I do too. That would be actually very helpful.
But dude, speaking of Kyle, and we were gonna have the guy on to give him his flowers because he's our basketball champion, goddammit, and we haven't talked about it. But you know, unfortunately, Nate, the special guest appearance was not to be, as you know as well as I from the text. Kyle is claiming that he's traveling with his quote unquote in-laws to golf.
Allegedly.
Yep. When Nate, in reality, according to my sources who are close to the situation, he's headed to Eastern Asia for sex tourism. And it's
this theme, man. We got. I was in Vegas for that just a couple weeks ago.
Right. Yeah, dude. And it's a real shame that he's not here to defend himself tonight. But you know, I'd be remiss if I didn't report the information as it was being presented to me to the rest of the league.
Well, I'm also kind of thrilled for him because I heard the market over there is absolutely mint.
I mean, yeah, dude. If you're gonna do it, that's the place to do it.
Low cost.
Don't be fooled. I'll believe it when I see a picture of him, you know, holding a flag with his father-in-law on the course.
Oh, that's good stuff right there.
Well, dude, do we want to talk about fantasy baseball or no?
I mean, my team's killing it. I'm really happy about where the South Florida Scorpions are. I will say I don't think we need to go down too much of a rabbit hole with fantasy baseball. I'll say that, you know, I'll get to my relocation team name for basketball in a moment here. For baseball, we are staying put in South Florida until the end of the season. There's no reason to ruin the mojo right now. The clubhouse is absolutely vibing. And if we're going to make a change, it will not be until after the close of the baseball season. But we're happy to be 6-1, and we are just absolutely rolling right now. Thank God the team has come to play this year.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you love to see that, and you know, kudos to you as ownership not wanting to uproot a team. You know, while they have all that momentum. I think that's really smart. I will say, Nate, it is a little confusing when I look and I see week 9, but we've only played 7 games. And like, it just doesn't is that like an error with the league? Can we reach out to ESPN to have them fix that?
No, if you don't remember, there was a little bit of a kerfuffle at the beginning of the year because of the Japan game. And we had to do our draft a little bit later. So
it's Japan's fault.
It's always Japan's fault. It's always Japan's fault.
But no, I did have a comment on Paul Dolan's Stan account. Anyone who knows anything about fantasy football knows just because I'm fantasy baseball, just because I'm in 11th place doesn't mean I'm bad.
Wait, let's dig into that a little bit though.
Yeah.
When was the last good fantasy season for your teams?
Dude, it's really pathetic, and excuse me if I talked about it on here recently, but I think it was if it wasn't my first, it was my second, but I think it was my first season playing.
Oh, you had was it a football season that you went to the championship?
Yeah, so dude, I had a football season that went to the championship, and it was probably, you get to a fantasy football championship, it's hard, you got to be lucky. It was, I'll make up the numbers, but it was something like, it came down to Monday Night Football in a snow game, and I had Packers running back I had Aaron Jones, and they had drafted A.J. Dillon that year, and I want to say I needed like 3.5 points from him with it was almost a full half to go, and they were feeding him the entire game, and for some reason they pulled out Aaron Jones and started giving touches to the rookie A.J. Dillon, who they never ended up propping up or even being any good, and by all accounts Aaron Jones had no injury or even dust up whatsoever, and they did that only to hurt me, and Josh won. And since then, Nate, I have done fuck all in all of these leagues. I've never done anything in basketball, and I'm ashamed to admit I was proud. I was proud about my 4th place in baseball last year. So it's a bleak times for the organization, and we hope to see that luck turn around here shortly.
I do too, because one, selfishly, I'd love to get you in the mix with some of these diss tracks that I've been churning out. I'd love to really dig into your history. But I do hope there's a turnaround there.
Dude, I did say last year, because I actually got the first overall pick last year when I got like 10th or 11th place, whatever it was. And I was like, this will be the year I get the first overall pick, and then I'll probably get last place anyway and not get the first overall pick next year. And so far, that prediction is 1 for 2. Hoping it stays 1 for 2, and the second half of that is incorrect. And shortly, I am pumping my fist in excitement that my brethren is coming home.
There we go. All right, before we go into the lottery, though, let me unveil the new team name, because I know all our viewers are patiently waiting.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you know, we're getting relocated to Baltimore, and
congratulations.
Thank you. And for the theme of my teams, ever since the start of the Dynasty Leagues, I've always wanted to pay homage to the city that we live in. Started out as the Vienna Vixens, went 2-15. If we don't remember that season,
who could forget?
Who could forget? Got the first round draft pick, or second pick of the draft. Picked up Evan Mobley, who Dante claimed was going to be like Hashim to beat, and then also got Trey Murphy III and also Scotty Barnes. Killed it in the draft.
Not bad.
Went on the next year, we moved down to Fort Lauderdale, rebranded as the Fort Lauderdale Fire, and won the championship. It was absolutely glorious. And now we're moving again. And definitely shouts to the fans at Fort Lauderdale that have supported us ever since we got here. Shouts to the OG fans out in Vienna. We're coming back to the DMV in a new and better way. We're coming to Baltimore. And as we know, Baltimore is known for their crabs. Baltimore is known for their Old Bay seasoning.
Yep.
Let's see here.
I'm told my same source that informed me about Kyle tells me that there's a logo too. So
there is a logo.
Oh,
the Old Bay Blasters, baby!
Wow.
The Old Bay Blasters.
Folks,
we're coming.
If you weren't sure that Nate has just been mailing it in as his old job for the past 3 weeks, I think that the fact that he took the time to make this beautiful logo is only a testament to that. Well done, and welcome the Old Bay Blasters. Wow, great job.
Old Bay Blasters. Here we go. Yep, this is going to be This is going to be a new chapter, a new and exciting chapter for the organization. So super excited. But tonight's not about me, Colin.
Right.
Tonight is not about me. Tonight is about the lottery. So if you don't mind, I'm going to take this away. I know your stomach is absolutely churning at this point.
This sucks, dude.
All right, let me get the screen back up.
Dude, I got to be honest with you, and this is the truth. I burnt some sage before this for good luck, so.
Well, I'm really hoping for you. You seeing this?
Yeah.
All right, great. So for those tuning in, this is the same site that we've used each year. I have not done test runs. This is my first, this is the going in. We have Flounder for Flag as the number 1 team with 4 lottery balls. The Columbus Cobras at 2 with 3 balls. Life of Paolo at 2 with 2 balls, or at 3 with 2 balls. And then Mickley Magician at 4 with 1 ball. Let's get into it.
I hate it.
We're going to reveal from pick 4 to pick 1, folks. Pick 4. The Columbus Cobras. Colin, that's not a good start.
How many balls did they have? 1?
They had 3.
That's a good start.
Okay.
That's the ideal start, right?
I guess. I'm not sure. Pick 3. Mickley Magician.
You dickhead. You dickhead. No!
Oh, God. We're getting to number 2. Pick 2. Flounder.
You.
Oh my God! And pick number 1, Life of Paolo.
Good, dude. Good. Well deserved. It should go to the draft guru who roasts my picks every single year. Good.
Wow.
Good.
Who would have thought? Life of Paolo gets the first pick. Flounder for Flag with pick number 2. Mickley Magician number 3, and Columbus Cobras number 4.
Dude,
wow.
You know what the thing is? And I think once we're looking back on this 10 years from now, we're going to say Cooper flagged this, Cooper flagged that. But why aren't we talking more about Dylan Harper or
Ace Bailey?
Or Ace Bailey, yeah.
Yeah. That Colin.
It is great.
You can't even write this. This is not, I can't even make this up. You saw me. I did not. I would never do that. I would never do that to you.
I know. I would never throw the R word around. I would not do that. I would not do that.
Any closing statements here? This is devastating.
No, I'm glad. If it was going to be anyone, I'm glad it was Dante. He's been nothing but gracious to me when it comes to everything surrounding the draft in this league and my performance in this league. So it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. If not me, I'm glad that it's him.
Wow. That's rough. Yeah. I don't even know this is how the show's going to end.
Nixon 7.
Nixon 7. Colin, always a treat. Thank you so much for your insight. I'm glad we were able to get to the bottom of a lot of some of the stuff that have been nagging us for a while now. Let's be sure to loop back here ahead of the draft so that maybe we bring Dante on and we can start talking, get him jabbering, because I'm sure he's got something to say.
Oh my God, dude. Well, when he gets back from his happy hour, hours from now, he's going to be super pumped to find out that he has the
back to him his happy hour hours from now. That sounds like Dante. That certainly sounds like
dude, don't post the order in the group chat. Make him watch the video.
Yes. I might even send maybe a screen grab of the video.
That's a good idea too. I like that. Also, Kyle, send us some pictures of yourself from Thailand, please. We hear it's beautiful this time of year.
Peace.
See you, man.